Good afternoon. Welcome to another Reprogram Your Thinking video. Today, I wanted to talk about the situation with the photo of Lil Nas X being pregnant. Now, this video is going to be short, and I'm not going to go on a rant, but I will say this. And we're talking about phobias. We hear so many people talk about people being homophobic when they see something and they speak on it. When do we draw the line? Where are our boundaries? We see this young man decides to take a stand and say, that he is gay. He comes out and he tells everybody he's gay. Okay, the world of hip hop and the industry that he's chosen to be a part of, I'm not going to even say embraced it, but he received some support, so to speak, because even people that may not agree with it, they're taking on the mindset of you can't stop it. So, whatever someone chooses to do, they've taken a stance of that's them. Who am I to judge? Most people have taken that stance. But when do you say, hey, that's a little too much? Because what image are you portraying for children? Now we can truly speak on what he's portraying for children. Are you honestly, even if it was a play on it was marketing, it was a ploy to get attention and bring attention to his new album, and I guess he was just, kind of being creative and playing on the fact that he's got a new album coming out, and this is the way he wanted to market it, market his new album. But my question today in this video that I'm posing is, are there boundaries? Do we have any boundaries in this world today? Or are we just going along to get along? To basically quote Kwame Brown. Not trying to steal his quote, but he calls those people in these industries to go along, get along gang. So I'm asking, do we have any boundaries? Or are we just going along, truly going along to get along? Because are you telling little boys that they can be pregnant? Kids are impressionable. We can say, hey, don't watch it, don't look, keep your kids away from certain things, don't publish it. That's public knowledge. This is one thing I'm going to say to celebrities in this video. You are a public figure. Whatever you do is going to be become public knowledge at some point, bad or good. So you have to accept that, and you're gonna have to accept what comes with that, because if it comes into the public's eye, we live in a country where we say we have freedom of speech, and people are going to say what they feel. You can try to justify, you can try to fix it up real pretty or whatever. You can compare that to Carly B coming on stage at the BET Awards with her stomach showing, and she's pregnant, and she was in a onesie, dancing around the stage. Not the same. Not the same dynamic. It's a bad image for girls. It's a negative image for girls. But are you basically telling kids, young boys, young males, that they can become impregnated? Now, you could have marketed that video, that album a whole nother way. You could have marketed that album a whole nother way. People tried to get past the devil lap dance video that you did. But this right here, I'm going to honestly go on and say this is a little too much. And I'm going to end this video by saying, being right doesn't always mean that you're right in God's sight. And I also want to give you the scripture for today to go with this video, because I just want to know, do we have any boundaries? I mean, seriously, what are our boundaries? When do we stop for a second and think before we do certain things? Honestly, do we have any boundaries? Because it seems like we don't. In all actuality, it just seems like we're just now, basically, we're existing. And we're convincing ourselves that, we're right. And no one can tell us anything. And no matter what people say, we can do what we want. And technically, they're right. We have free will. But for this young man to go from coming out and gaining acceptance in a world that is so against, male rappers being gay. And you were, like I said, supported by people, many people. But can we honestly keep supporting this? People got mad at Benzino for saying something about the kiss at the BET Awards with the guy with one of his dancers. People got mad at the baby for making homophobic comments or hateful comments towards gay people and people with HIV. But what are we going to say? Are we going to keep letting things slip that cross real boundaries? Do we have any boundaries? We don't have to tolerate things we shouldn't have to tolerate things just to keep status or get along with everybody. I can't tolerate everything. And we talk about the Christian community and how Christians are so judgmental. But in accordance with the questions that I asked, are there any boundaries? And I'm trying to say things in such a way where I'm just saying in love. At some point, we have to have a level of respect for each other. Because even though we don't have to watch everything, we can turn off our TV, we can pass it up on social media, we can just not watch a lot of this stuff. But for the people and for the young people and for the children who do watch, who do like Lil Nas X. What do we do with those young people? What do we, because it's hard to say, parents, be on guard, parents, watch your own kids, raise your kids. Because if think about it, you can tell somebody something, even grown-ups. You can tell grown-ups, with us, even grown-ups, you can tell us that, hey, everything you see on TV, you don't have to follow those people, or you don't have to do what they do. You be your own person. You can tell grown-ups that, hey, the best thing for you is to follow God and trust God, and people still see that, like, what is it looks like, hey, these people over here are not following God and they're living just fine. So what do you think about a child watching a man or looking at a man on a photo and he's impregnated, or he's given the image? I'm not going to say because he's not pregnant. So, but is that clear to a child? Is that something that you can make clear to a child? So that's the thing about this LBGTQ thing, and people not being all for it. And we want to say homophobic, but phobias are fears. We don't fear you. We don't fear people that live an alternative lifestyle. What we look at is things like this. When you have influence, use it in a positive way. You're lap dancing on the devil. What message are you sending there? Now you want to give the image of you can bear a child as a male. Problem. Very problematic. So I would say this in closing, and I will end with this, with scripture, because I want to end on a positive note. I just wanted to pose a question on, do we have boundaries? And this is the scripture. I'm not going to talk anymore on it. I'm just going to give you the scripture and say, finally, brother, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. Philippians 4:8. So when it comes to boundaries, what do you want your kids thinking about? Do you want your little boy thinking that he can become pregnant, that he can bear a child? Because you're already having people believe that they can change their gender. So now you have a young man out here bearing the image that a man can have a child. He's giving off that image. So what do you want your children thinking about? And do we have boundaries? So remember, being right doesn't mean you're always right in God's sight. Let's get back to love, and let's reprogram the way we are thinking and moving in this world. Thanks for listening.